Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Mic here with Radio Theology, your weekly dose of faith, hope, love, and music. Pastor Darren Earlywine here with the one and only Ryan Allward.
Hey, guys.
And the one and only Lisa Graft.
Hello, hello.
If you want to get in touch with us, Ryan, you got great music putting out. You're putting out new music every single month.
I am.
And they can find that stuff at where?
RyanSongs.com. It's also all up on Apple Music, Spotify, wherever you listen to your music.
And Ryan used to be in Straight No Chaser.
I did.
Touring the world, singing the great a cappella hits.
An a cappella man band. Yeah, I'm basically the real-life Andy Bernard from The Office.
It works.
If you're a fan of that show.
It does.
And Lisa, if they love what you're putting out each and every week, they can come hang out with you digitally, virtually. Where?
Yes. At IamMotherOfTheYear.com and at the I Am Mother of the Year Facebook group.
Excellent. And you can find me at RadioTheology.com or just Darren Earlywine. Check it out. It's out there. Hey, this week, guys, we started the week off talking about, or the show off, talking a little bit about fall.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, I'm so ready for autumn.
It is, I will say, summer I think is my favorite because I love outside. I love the pool. I love baseball. I love the heat because I hate winter so much.
Yeah.
But I will say there's just so much good about autumn.
I totally agree.
I would agree with you. Can we just do a quick ranking of the seasons? Like, I'm going to go 1 through 4 here. For me, personally, this is me.
Okay.
Fall, spring, winter, summer.
That is the top two I might give you, but I feel like the last two things you said are heresy.
Well, you know, it doesn't have to be heresy because it's my heresy if it is heresy.
No, Ryan.
I'm just speaking my truth.
No, your truth sucks.
Oh, boy. I'm going to go with fall, summer,
All right.
winter, spring.
You don't like spring. Is it allergies or is it like, what is it?
Spring, just can't decide. Spring is like winter that just cannot get to summer, and that it just annoys me.
You know what,
just
Lisa?
be what you actually are, which is winter.
I tend
Speak
not
your
to
truth, spring.
I tend not to agree with you in life because I want to keep you humble. I want to keep your rampant arrogance under control.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just total lack of humility.
Someone's got to do it.
But I'm going to step out of character here, and I'm going to say that I agree with you.
Thank you.
That would be your rundown as well, or
Yeah.
your
Yeah, I'm going to go fall, summer.
Really? Okay.
Now,
I would think you'd be a summer guy first.
No, I'm going to go summer, fall.
Okay.
But I'm going to give you, what I am going to agree with you on is I'm going to go winter, spring.
Yeah.
Wow.
Winter,
Wow.
I hate it, but I do love me some Christmas.
Right. And some
okay.
snow.
Little bit of snow.
Yeah.
But here's what I hate about spring is it's not, at least in Indiana, for the past, I don't know, decade, it's an absolute tease.
Yes.
Yeah, I get that.
Or it's like manifested depression.
But see, the thing about winter that you have to accept, though, is after Christmas, like December 26th, a.k.a. Boxing Day, if you're weird and celebrate Boxing Day, I don't even know what that is. You just get boxes? This is the most ignorant American comment I've ever met. But, like, post-Christmas to, like, April 1, that's still winter, and it's garbage in Indiana.
Yeah.
So you're saying you enjoy that?
No, I hate it. But I'm saying I don't like how spring is like, hey, it's going to be 70. Up, 2.
Okay,
The ups and downs. I can't take it.
But right now we're about to we are officially entering fall.
Yes. It happened this week. Saturday, September 21st, first day of fall.
Glorious.
I love fire pits. I love football. I do love the changing of the leaves.
Yeah.
I do like introducing myself to some of my fall wardrobe.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm like, hey, what's up, coats I haven't seen in 12 months.
Yeah.
It's kind of a fun moment.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Pumpkin spice lattes everywhere.
Well, I mean, I didn't say that I was a woman.
I did buy a mulled cider candle the other day.
Ooh,
It's nice.
I do love the fall smell of the fall candles.
See, I'm gonna go winter candles, then fall candles, like a nice balsam or a cedar candle. That just screams Christmas.
Well, so far we're 4 minutes and 27 seconds in with zero spiritual content.
Yeah, we should probably get to it.
Anyway, we do love fall. We hope wherever you listen to the show that you have some kind of season you can look forward to. We also talked this week about Kanye and the Biebs.
Oh, yeah.
We also dabbled with a little Florida Georgia line who had Chris Tomlin come lead worship at their show in Atlanta.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, like honestly, everything that I've been reading and seeing that's going on with these different musicians' lives, it seems like genuinely they're responding to what Jesus is doing.
Yeah.
And let me just stop right there and say, who am I to say that I'm the person who gets to judge and decide what's genuine?
Yeah.
Right,
Let's
right.
just stop right there.
Sure.
According to my pompous opinion, it's genuine.
Yeah.
Like,
You're doing what I'm doing.
Yes.
Therefore, that makes me feel good about me.
yes, let's point out the rampant arrogance and hypocrisy in most, I would say,
Oh, yeah.
Christians' view, or maybe non-Christians that just see what's going on. Like, I mean, really?
Mm-hmm.
Let me give you all the reasons why Yeezy's not blah, 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 blah. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
But here's what I don't want people doing in my life, judging that my genuine following of Jesus isn't real or genuine or it's fake or it's short-lived. But I don't know why we feel so easy to be like, oh, well, he's done some things in his past. Therefore, no way he could really change.
Right. And we don't want to really look in the mirror at our own stuff that we've done in the past.
Yeah, we're just really lucky that we're not famous.
There we go.
That everything that we've ever done, right or wrong, mostly wrong, is now broadcast for everyone to see and judge and poke fun at for no reason besides that they have the courage that they get to sit behind their phones and do so.
Wow. I suddenly grew in my empathy for pop stars.
It's true, dude. You're right, Lisa. It's like if we all had to have as public of life as they had.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't know. When we talked about it this week about the different biblical characters, we kind of hit a little bit in Bible Bros about Saul, who we know as the Apostle Paul, is that when you think about a couple weeks ago we talked about Zacchaeus. If I say it right for you two, is that when Jesus goes to be the guest with Zacchaeus' guest with all of his sinning friends,
Yeah.
it says the religious people began to mutter, right? Oh, he's going to be the guest of a sinner. When Jesus calls Matthew to follow him and goes to a party at Matthew's house, right? Same situation. And I mean, I guess maybe we can be comforted that we're at least as vindictive and judgmental as the first century people.
Sure.
When we're like, oh my gosh, like we asked some people this week, just kind of going around, hey, what do you think about Kanye West and in his Sunday service, or what do you think about Justin Bieber and what he's, oh my gosh, are you serious? And it's like, really?
Yeah.
Like why can't we root for people to really experience life change? What do you think?
I think part of it is if you cared this much to really root for somebody, because for me, I'm like, it's cool, but I'm like, I'm not really invested in it.
Okay.
But if I was a little more, say I'm a real Justin Bieber fanatic,
Okay.
then I'm invested
believer.
in him, a
There you go, right.
believer.
Yep.
Then I invested him, and then he makes some really, really big mistakes and turns the other way again, then I feel foolish telling everybody that I told, oh, did you see his life change? Or and then when he flips again, I'm like, I feel stupid, which is dumb because it's not about me. None of it is.
That's a good point.
But it feels like it.
So we're actually kind of defending or protecting ourselves from what if it's not real or doesn't last.
Right. I think it's more about us.
Well, and I think we've seen that. You've seen people, there's been famous people, whatever, that's like, oh, they really got on fire for the Lord. And then all of a sudden later they're like, smoking crack.
Mel Gibson.
Yeah, well, but here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
How many, like,
Yeah. You produced a movie about Jesus, bro.
he did, but who's to say
I know.
Mel's
Exactly.
not trying to just figure it
Right.
out?
Right. Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
basically, if you have fame, our judgment bar for you is if you make a Jesus statement, you
Yes.
better freaking be perfect.
Right.
Or if you make too many Jesus statements like Tim Tebow, it's like, all right, man, that's cool that you're a Christian, but tamper it down a
Calm
little
down.
Like, you can't really marry Miss Universe, but he
bit.
is.
But he is.
High five, Tim.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Where it's like we, I don't even know who I'm saying when I use the collective we.
The royal we.
The royal we. When we see people like either being like, you've never been a Christian and now you are, or we get it, you're a Christian. It's just like, stay in this one little safe, sterile lane that we want you to stay in. Don't get out of it, though. I don't know.
So is it more about their fame? Because I don't know that, like, let's say I have a neighbor.
Okay.
Let's say I have a crackhead neighbor.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't, that I know of. If you're listening and you're a neighbor and you've been secretly smoking crack, I don't know that.
Yes.
I'm not outing you.
Don't
Yeah.
come tell me about it either.
God is going to use you at such a time like this, Darren. To go over there, bring a cookie cake, and be like, "Hey, man, what's going on?
I've been smoking crack. Have you tried this
Yeah.
chocolate chip cookie?
What's going on?"
Anyway, I think if I have a crackhead neighbor and he's like, I'm following Jesus, I think I'm like, bro, that's freaking amazing.
Yeah.
How could I help?
Right, right.
And even if he goes back and like he falls off the wagon,
Yeah.
I think I'm like, bro, compassion for you.
Yes.
So is it that because Justin Bieber and Kanye West are famous and have money and whatever, we can't root for them or believe them?
Probably. Yeah, probably because we don't really know them.
Yeah.
We think we do.
We think we do, but we don't know anything about them really.
We think we do, but we have no idea. What was that? The old VH1 Behind the Music.
Yeah, I love that
tagline.
Yeah,
that was pretty good.
Yeah. Let me make a blanket statement about this.
Go ahead.
How about we just decide to think the best of people?
Too risky.
I want to think the best of me, but I'm waiting for you to crash and burn.
And I want you to think the best of me.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
I'm going to think the best of you. I need you to think the best of me. I will think bad things about you and kind of root for you to not maybe fail, but at least not do as good as I'm doing.
Exactly. That feels right. That feels right to me in my spirit.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with me, you guys.
Well, there's something wrong with all of us.
Of us.
That's what we're working towards here.
Right.
It's the universal problem of sin.
Yeah, it is, and I think it's
And
good for us to
pride.
see that we've said this before on the show and on behind the mic is that we want grace and mercy for us and justice for everyone else.
Oh, yes.
Say that again.
So is this week, it might be your mom, your sister, your ex-husband, your kids, somebody in your life that has hurt you or that I guess maybe that has hurt you or their actions have been something that you've disproved of, is maybe just ask God to help you start from a place of grace for them. Like, I want to give you grace and mercy. I want to assume the best of your intentions. If you prove me wrong, then we'll deal with that when we get to it. But what if you just went through a week? Check back in with us in 7 days, and you went for a week of, I'm going to assume the best of everyone's intentions in every situation I'm in, and see if in 7 days you're not full of a little bit more joy, and maybe you may help somebody make a good next step.
Right. That's good.
Because I don't know how many times I've had anybody when I felt like people were hating on me, like really made some great strides.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Anyway, that was half the show. Then we talked about, which was a fun half of the show.
It was a fun one.
Then we talked a little bit about, in the spiritual takeaway of that one, and we talked about in the thought of the day, was the fact that the biblical promises we have is two of them, where it talks about that Jesus is the author and the perfecter of our faith. And I love the fact that it comes from the book of Hebrews. And right before that scripture comes in, it's a scripture that talks about, since we're surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us run with perseverance, throw off all the weights and all the sin that so easily entangles us, and run this race of perseverance towards Christ, the author and perfecter of our faith. And the thing I love about that is that if you look at the great cloud of witnesses that it's talking about in the Bible, and it gives a list of many things in there, some of them did amazing things, but within the cloud of witnesses we're talking about are a lot of people who had some pretty checkered pasts that God still loved and changed their life.
Yeah.
Like it's a pretty checkered list within the Bible.
Yeah.
Murderers, thieves, liars, adulterers. One of Jesus's, through his earthly dad Joseph's lineage, one of his super great grandmothers was a prostitute.
Yeah, Rahab. Yeah.
She got it on with all the fellows in town.
Yeah. Like, there's plenty of situations where oh, God used their life.
Yeah,
he
did.
did.
Yeah, man, I'm going to use yours too, and don't think that you're above any of these people.
And they are in the cloud of witnesses.
Yeah.
But that idea that, I love it, that Jesus is the author, meaning he established, he started. It wasn't actually your doing. God sought you out. It's by grace that we've been saved, right? Like, God started this good work in you, and he's going to actually work to perfect it. And that ties in with the other scripture that I shared in the thought of the day, or at least alluded to, that talks about that I just drew a blank right now. The author, perfecter of faith. The other one says that God, he who began a good work in you, will carry it on to completion.
Yeah.
Is that God's not giving up on you. And maybe you are experiencing a lot of, flack from neighbors or from friends or family members because maybe you did screw up again.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you cheated again. Maybe you lied again. Maybe you got high again. Maybe you got drunk again. I don't know what it is. You did it again.
Mm-hmm.
And you're thinking, I actually am the fraud they think I am, or whatever. I want to encourage you this morning or this afternoon or right now that you're not.
Right.
You know what I mean? You are who God says that you are, and He has not given up on you.
Yeah.
And He who began this good work in you, as you continue to run towards and draw into His grace in this relationship, He will carry this on to completion, even if maybe it doesn't garner a bunch of cheers from the people that are watching you. Fumble your way and stumble your way into grace.
Thank God that God is patient and kind too. You know, that He's not just got like a stopwatch where He's like, okay, they did all right today, or screwed up, big X.
Yes.
Yeah.
Quick, throw a lightning bolt. You know, like quick, make them lose their job. I have an aunt, a great aunt, who developed breast cancer. Fortunately, she survived it, but she had a theory. It was a whacked out theological theory, but she got breast cancer because she was the mistress in a married man's affair. She was the mistress like years ago.
Okay.
She's like, this is why I have breast cancer. It's a punitive, God is angry with me. He's going to go ahead and give me breast cancer. And it's like, man, when you get to the root of that, it's like, is that really true? Yeah. Or do you just have breast cancer because you have breast cancer?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
I think that's a prevailing view for a lot of people, is that God sits in the seat of punishment, that He's a punisher.
mm-hmm.
And there are scriptures that you can read and I think inappropriately interpret that, see, this is where God was out to get the Israelites, or He was out to punish these kind of things.
Yeah, right. Like Moses at one point like pled on their behalf and actually changed God's mind, like persuaded God. God's like, I'm done with these people. I'm going to wipe them out. And Moses is like, hold on.
Yeah. But I think the thing is, if you read the entire Old Testament through I love Wayne Jacobson's phrase, through a Jesus lens, to where nothing, like, if I can't read what's happening in the Old Testament and see it through the lens of Jesus, I'm probably misinterpreting what I think may be happening in the Old Testament. And oftentimes, I don't know that we read enough of the story to see how long-suffering God's, forgiveness and love and patience is and was in the Old Testament with the Israelite people.
Yeah.
And realizing it wasn't His desire that any should be punished or perish, and it still isn't now. And so I think there's a part of that to realize that. I love the phrase that, and it's something I've tried to get my mind around, is that sin brings its own consequences. Like, God is not looking to punish you. He's looking to forgive and redeem and strengthen. And we have so many promises of what His heart is for you in your life. But sin does have its own consequence.
Yeah.
I'm talking to a guy this week who has, invited some infidelity into his marriage and some stuff within his work life. And like, as I'm talking to him, he's processing it kind of like, where's God in this? And he's kind of the view that God's kind of out to get me. And I said, is that what you really think of God's character? Like, that He's basically vindictively looking just to screw your life up? And he's like, well, no, I don't, but it's the way he says it. And sometimes the way his emotions are kicking up.
Yeah.
And I went back and said, is it possible that some of the pain that you're experiencing is not caused at all by God, but it's just the consequence, the result of the things that you've invited into your life? And could it be that as you're looking around in your life, some of these positive things that you've mentioned, you could actually trace back to God showing up even in the midst of the consequences you've brought in?
Yeah.
Of you and me at times trying to skirt all responsibility and project all blame.
Yeah.
It's easy to project blame on a God who we can't necessarily see.
Yeah.
To be like, that one's on you, Lord. He's like, really? Because you just walked completely into this.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't love responsibility. That's for sure.
We do love power and glory, though.
Yes.
Ooh, give that to me.
We do.
Yeah.
And that actually brings us to a transition of, at least when we talked about a little bit about you stepping into this dream of pulling off this Reset Women's Conference.
Which was amazing, by the way.
It was great. You didn't just pull it off. You guys knocked it out of the park, your whole team that you had with you with IamMotherOfTheYear.com. But there were some lies that almost kept you from doing this. And the truths you shared this week on the show, they're not just for women. They're not just about this women's event. I think these are things that are under the surface constantly in anything that we want to step into. I mean, as you were saying that, I was reflecting upon my breakfast this morning as I was meeting with somebody about the possibility of next year writing a book with everything that we have with Spiritual DNA.
All right.
Which I'm really stoked on.
All right.
Yeah.
I like the sound of that.
The lie and the gremlins in my head as I'm sitting there, your first one about like, you don't really have a voice. Like
Yeah.
there's too many people already talking about this kind of thing. Like,
Right.
who are you to think you need to write a book? Like, I'm sitting with this, author, book writer,
Yes, accomplished
accomplished person, and she's like, I love the idea. This is going to be great. It could help a lot of people. And in my brain, I'm thinking, you're a fake. You're a fraud. You don't really have what it takes to do this. And why do you think somebody wants to hear what you have to say in a stupid book?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, if you had something to say, you would probably already had a book, and somebody would have come to you
Yeah.
and probably paid you a lot of money to have a book.
Exactly. You'd have been super famous.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's what I'm thinking over a great omelet, by the way, this morning.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So good.
Yeah, pat at you. Wow, so
Yeah.
good. So you were sharing some of the same voices were in your head as far as starting this conference.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the women's space right now, I mean, I think we live in a very women-centric culture, and that's a great thing and a bad thing. But the good thing is that there's lots of people fighting to help women reclaim and capture their voices, and I've staked out my little corner of that sandbox, but it feels insignificant to me at sometimes. So, I felt like, man, just another women's conference. Ugh, there's so many, and I don't even like any of them, and I don't go to them. So why create your own? But then I just conveniently got to know two of the women that ended up on our team, and they had the same dream. And so it was like, oh, okay, yeah, let's do this together. And I think there is a market for this. And then the feedback that we're getting after the fact from the more than 100 women that came was, why is there nothing's like this? There's nothing like this. I'm like, oh, I thought it's like everyone else's and going to be way worse. Well, it turns out, combined with all of our unique gifts and our creativity and the synergy that we have when we're together, like, our ideas were fantastic. Our details were flawless, and God just used it to blow some minds, including our own, which was awesome.
Well, I think some of it comes too is like, and this is something sometimes I've thought is like, I think because we idolize the big, the huge, the famous, the super successful, is the thought of, well, who am I to say this and whatever? And then if we can't book out Lucas Oil Stadium for our conference, what have we done?
Right.
But it's like, well, we had 100 people whose lives really, really matter, and you impacted those ladies, and like, let's say you do this conference for the next 10 years, and there's 100 people that come every year.
Right.
Like, are you failing? Does your voice not matter?
Exactly.
It's like, no, you're being obedient to impact the people that God puts, that you're being faithful to who's in front of you.
Yeah.
And God is using the combination of that in powerful ways.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes if it's not like, well, my voice won't matter, it's then the next one that comes on is like, if it doesn't grow and it's not worldwide, to make it really matter, you got to impact 10,000 people.
Right.
No, maybe you just have to be faithful to impact the people that God puts in front of you.
Yeah, yeah. And I think one of the comments that meant the most to me was one of our volunteers came up to me afterwards and just said, I'm sure you're going to get lots of good feedback, but if for some reason you get none, like, I needed to hear every word that was spoken today. It was as if this whole event was created just for me. Wow. And I'm like, holy smokes. Like, that for me, I was like, okay, done, good. It was expensive to do just for you, but I'm glad. That's all I needed to hear to go, oh my gosh. And I didn't even need to hear that because I already knew it was a slam dunk just because of the obedience of it.
Well, and we talked about that in the show too. Something we've said, I think maybe you even brought it up in one of your release pieces a couple months ago about like that you can't control the outcomes. You just control the obedience. That's what you're responsible for.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And it was, as our details were all coming into place and, we're watching the women file in and hearing the buzz in the auditorium and things, it was like, this isn't really up to me. I mean, if we take it back and get spiritually deep, this wasn't my idea. This was God's. Like, he put this in my heart to do. I listened. I gathered the team. We worked really hard, but we all brought our best. And most of my talk, I feel like God was like, I wrote it one day out of this beautiful place of just overwhelming rest. And I went back to reread it and was like, this is good. I didn't even recognize it because it was like I co-authored it. And that's how the whole event felt, was that it was co-authored. And so it was like, it's not up to me. It's not up to me to make sure each woman, and that was hard for me too, is the first time my mom or sister came to hear me speak. And I felt this huge weight of, oh my gosh, my sister, I hope she has the best time ever. And I'm going to make sure, and I'm going to make sure my mom has the right seat with the right people. And I'm like, no, like I'm not in charge of them and their lives and what they bring in to the conference, what they bring into the auditorium and into each moment. That's not on me. I can't possibly change it for one person, let alone 100.
Yeah. Well, I think that it's the cool part about it is that faithfulness of bringing the best of what God's given you, bringing a community around you, and then being faithful with the obedience. And Ryan, one thing that has inspired me that you've done over the past, couple years is like when you committed, like I'm gonna put out a song a month.
Yeah.
Like, have any of your songs gone platinum? No. Right? You're not driving a new Bentley because of all the albums you've sold.
Right.
But you're being faithful every single month to do the unique thing that God's given you to do. So speak to that for a minute, because I feel like sometimes we think, unless it, like I was saying before, unless it's huge or whatever, or big, it's not worth it. But like, you're investing time, you're investing money, you're investing heart, soul into what you're doing.
Right.
So what's been the payoff, I guess, or speak to that where you've committed yourself to, I'm going to do this regardless of the results?
It's a great question. I think the biggest payoff has been that I know full well, like while I'm doing the things in the studio that I'm doing and while I'm working and there are moments where I'm like, gosh, I'm not the best promoter of music, but I'm really good at making it. So there's moments in this whole process where I'm realizing my own limitations in that. And I would say if that's you, like, you don't have to be A+ at absolutely everything. Like, that's part of what Lisa was saying. Like, this is a community thing, find people who are really good at the things that you aren't good at and bring them alongside you. I think that's real wisdom right there. But for me, it's totally understanding and feeling this sense real time of like, wow, I'm doing what I've been created to do, and I don't think that it's up to the instrument in the musician's hand to tell the musician how to play it. And so in our sense, like, yes, knowing the gifts that God has given us, knowing the strengths that God has given us, that, like you said, Lisa, you gathered the team, you rallied the troops, you made the invites, like you're doing I can't remember what scripture it is, but Jesus says at some point, he's like, if you are faithful in the little things, you will be faithful in the bigger things. Yeah. And that's, to me, man, like, I'm not trying to write the next big radio hit. And some people might be like, why not? I'm like, well, because I'm really content right now with this lane that I'm in. And if a song is going to blow up, it's going to blow up. It's not because of me. I'm trying to be faithful every time I go in behind the mic or, pick up the guitar or on stage. It's like, I really do. And this sounds no, it doesn't sound cheesy. It sounds like I think what we're supposed to do. Every time I have a performance, whether it's with a band or with my own music or whatever, or a studio session, I really do start with saying, Lord, thanks for this day. Thanks for this opportunity. Thank you for all the opportunities that you've given me that have led to this point. And thank you for the opportunities that this opportunity may lead to. Yeah. Help me to have a strong voice today. Help me to meet. And it's funny, man, because like when I'm in a live performance setting, I will ask him, I'll say, hey, if there's someone who needs encouragement or hope or joy or to feel something besides what they've been feeling lately, help my path to cross them. And so it's not always about, hey, Lord, let this show like put more food on my table. There are moments like that, sure. But it's like, it's so much bigger than just making music, man. Yeah. So for me, it's like, I'm an artist, I'm a creator, but I love the term you use, Lisa, like I'm a co-creator of this, and that God invites us into this opportunity to, I think he delights in it too. I think he gets so happy to see his children use the gifts that he's given them for his glory and for their joy.
Absolutely.
It's like, he's just a good and loving father. He really, really is. And, so yeah, I hope that answered your question.
No, it does. And one of the things that you hit on there that I want to close us out with this morning is the idea that not only do we not control the outcome, we also don't control the next opportunity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We just control this one.
Yeah.
And I think there's been so many things in my life where, because I was being, like you're saying, faithful with the little things. Mm-hmm. For me, as a drummer, the fact that I was regularly playing and practicing and getting better. Well, then when God opened an opportunity, it wasn't like, oh, I should have been practicing. Like, I was ready to go.
Right.
Yeah.
So, for you, it's like, you've had a cool opportunity that we can't necessarily speak of right now with the song you've written that's going to get some national exposure here pretty soon.
Yeah.
Like, had you been sitting in your basement, like thinking, I could write music, but who's going to listen? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not on tour. Like, I'm not in Straight No Chaser anymore.
Yeah.
Like, they would have come and said, hey, would you like to write this song that's going to get national exposure? And you probably would have said no, because I'm not ready.
Yep.
But you've been faithful to use the gifts and abilities that God's given you. Then he says, oh, like, I think God really loves, he created everything. So he likes like physical properties like gravity and like inertia and physics, which I don't understand because I'm kind of stupid. But like an object in motion, like stays in motion, right? Whatever that law of physics is. But I think God really loves inertia because he doesn't usually grab us and catapult us in a direction. He usually gently nudges us to the left and the right.
Sure.
Hey, how about we go this way? And it's a lot easier to move an object already in motion.
Yeah, and thank God he doesn't catapult us in. I can think of all the dreams that I have I would not be ready for even now if I was launched into that space.
Correct.
I'm like so grateful that I'm tiptoeing into my future.
Yes. And there's something to be said too. Like I've even in the middle of an audition for like a voiceover thing that I do, because I do that as well. There's moments this past gig that I ended up getting, I'm auditioning for it in my basement studio. And in my mind, as I'm reading the script, I'm like, this is mine to get. And it wasn't a cockiness about it. And it wasn't, this is because of me. There was just this inner absolute assurance that I'm like, not only am I doing what I feel like I'm created to do, but I'm getting really good at it.
Yeah.
And this one's mine. So everyone else get out of the way.
Yeah.
And I think that there is like, when I love the verses that where God is referred to as like a roaring lion or like a mighty unquenchable fire. Like I kind of and here's the deal. I think God is also like the little tiny baby porcelain Jesus in the nativity scene, but I love it when like his full power is on display because I'm like, yeah, that's my God right there.
Yeah.
Like he created me and I've got part of that in me. And when you live in that,
when you're
like,
accessing it,
seeing you on
sure.
stage in front of all those women where you're just like, boom, this is my speech. I'm rocking it. I was like, you're who you're born to be right now.
Yeah.
You're doing it.
Listen, you may be listening and you may say, guys, I'm inspired by your stories, but I don't sing. I don't speak.
Yeah.
I don't have the creative side of things that you guys do. That's okay. You're you.
Yeah.
Here's what I want to encourage you to do is in the unique way that God has created you. It could be in caretaking. It could be in serving in a way where you're loving and doing, you could be a nurse. I don't know. You could be an accountant.
Right.
Whatever the unique gifts that God has given you, it's be faithful to become who you were born to be. And as you're moving in obedience in that, you're going to be amazed at the opportunities that God begins to open for you to actually bring him glory and you experience great joy. And maybe you have no idea where that starts. That's why each and every week we talk about the Spiritual DNA Workshop. Each and every one of us have been impacted greatly by being able to really understand the unique way God's created us and then leveraging that for purpose, for passion, and for peace in not only just our personal lives, but our professional lives as well. If you want to go to spiritualdna.me, you can take the online course. We don't have another live workshop scheduled until 2020. You'll have to wait some time to come to a live workshop, but you can take the online course anytime you want. Just head over to spiritualdna.me. Start your journey right now. And, hey, we appreciate you listening to another episode of Behind the Mic. We'd love your feedback. You can email us at Darren, Lisa, or Ryan at blackbirdmission.com or hit us up on Facebook at radiotheology.com. And until then, we'll talk to you next time here on Behind the Mic. And never forget, God's for you, not against you. He's near you, not far away from you. And he's created you on purpose and for purpose.